All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where something very telling took place yesterday for the Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford fight. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford will be fighting this weekend to become the #1 fighter in all of boxing, pound for pound or otherwise. All other nonsense, media-driven bunk to the side. Have to get that out. Very, very frustrating to see what people in boxing are trying to do to these two guys and steal their shine before they even get on the stage. That said, though, they had press arrivals. They had grand arrivals into Las Vegas yesterday, both Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. And I noticed some things. Some people said some things, so we're going to talk about it and see whether or not we think these little small things could wind up having big effects on the fights, and they very well may have. Before I get into that though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button if you like the content. And if you like it, hit the thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the thumbs down button. There's room for haters as well, or detractors. Feel free to disagree with me. It's my opinion. And you are free to have yours. Now, if you are not, if you are a subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much to everybody that supports. Thank you to everybody that supports in the super thanks of videos like this. It really is a great way to help sponsor videos for content creators that you like, myself and or other people. Now, let's get into this because I think that this is good stuff. It's fun stuff. So, in the fight we have coming up this weekend, Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford arrived at the weigh-in. And one thing happened that was new. Another thing happened, and this is the second time it's happened. First, Errol Spence Jr. arrived, Terence Crawford arrived first, and Errol Spence Jr. arrived second. Ray Flores, who was the host for the MC for the arrivals, was trying to pump up the crowd. Man, that dude is funny to me. Let him pump up the crowd. Please keep him away from calling fights. But, honestly, I have a lot of gripes with anybody that calls fights, I think. But always going to be picky about that one because you're affecting what people are thinking while they're watching a fight. And you are not a fighter, so should always be very careful with all of that. But Ray Flores says, hey, I want to cheer for Errol Spence Jr. or Terence Crawford if you're here for Terence Crawford. Give me a cheer for Errol Spence Jr. if you're here for Errol Spence Jr. I'm trying to gauge the fan excitement and who people really want to see in this fight. And when he said Errol Spence Jr., you heard cheers. And then when you heard Terence Crawford, got a little more quiet. Then he did it again, and he said, actually, and I was like, what is this dude doing? He said, seems to me that it's about equal on both sides. And I thought to myself, man, are you bananas? It was clear that one, I could clearly hear them. I could not hear the other ones, but barely. Truth be told, though, the microphones, his microphone did not work for that, because when there was other videos of Errol Spence Jr. and walking through, I didn't see one with and Terence Crawford walking through. The rumble was a lot louder, right, than with his mic sticking it out there and trying to get the recording. But whatever the case was, then after that, he said, well, yeah, it sounds like there's more Errol Spence Jr. fans. Yeah, no, like we used to say, you know, in the childhood in the early 80s, in the 80s and late 70s, no doy. No duh, dummy. No duh, dummy. Yeah, much more excited for Errol Spence Jr., which should not be a surprise because Errol Spence Jr. is the draw in the fight. And Terence Crawford is not the draw in the fight. However, also, along with that, not however, if you look at the polls that are out there on like Twitter polls, YouTube polls about who people think are going to win the fight, it's heavy Errol Spence Jr. in the polls of boxing fans that where boxing fans think that Errol Spence Jr. is going to win the fight. And it is a slight favorite, and I say a slight favorite for Errol Spence, for Terence Crawford in the betting odds. And that's when by slight favorite, he's like minus 150, or I think he might be minus 150, and another one's plus 150. At a point in time, I think I might have seen Terence Crawford be minus 200 and Errol be like plus 115. But that's very, very even. And what's going to wind up being is, as more bets get placed later on in the week, those odds may very well shrink, a good bit. That doesn't necessarily mean that, I don't think that really says a lot about the fight, other than Vegas thinks it's a close fight and they don't want to lose. They don't want to lose money. Now, boxing trainers and professionals, I think the edge as far as who's making the predictions and saying who's going to win, I think that's more heavy Terence Crawford, at least in the interviews that I've seen. But again, that is also split, just like the fanfare thing is split between the Errol being a more popular fighter for the fans and Vegas trying to make their money. Also, I think professional fighters that are calling it, the ones that are with the PBC that are giving their predictions, are either neutral or with Errol, and the ones that are with other promotions in large part are like, oh, it's almost neutral, but they lean towards Terence. So all in all, I just think that means we just have a really good fight. But the way that the cheers of the crowd go, though, that can affect the judges. If it's a big, heavy pro Errol Spence Jr. crowd with everybody cheering for Errol Spence, punches that get thrown by Errol Spence Jr., you can get a lot of cheers from, less from Terence Crawford. That could actually affect the outcome. That has a chance of affecting the outcome of that fight. Now, the second thing that I thought was interesting was how Terence Crawford came in with a hoodie again and a sweat coat into the Grand Arrivals, a black hoodie, and was fully covered, similar to how when he had his public workout, he had a shirt on and he was still sweating stuff out, where Errol at the public workout had his shirt off and walked in with his shirt off. And in this particular instance as well, he just walked in with a regular strap season t-shirt on and walked in the building with a regular strap season t-shirt on. Didn't look like, it looked like Terence Crawford, it may be still trying to lose weight, still trying to, limit his liquids and limit that type of stuff. And maybe Errol Spence Jr. is feeling a little bit more comfortable about making weight. But all in all, that also could tell something in the fight, right? Not saying that Terence Crawford is any different shape than he always is. I would have to go back and look and see what he usually does, which I have not looked for specifically in the past. I don't think he's ever had a grand arrival before. Don't think Errol's ever had a grand arrival before either. However, it could have something to do with the outcome of the fight if Errol Spence Jr. just so on weight and feels so good with his new dietitian that he's going to make the weight perfectly well and rehydrate without a lot of problems. Man, that just means that man could come in a lot stronger. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.